Two, two. Two, two. Check, check. Two, two. Check, check. Two, two. Check, check. Check, check, 2, 2. Check, check, 2, 2. Check, check, 2, 2. Check, check. Check, 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 check. Check, check. Handheld 1, check. Live stream, held 1, 1, check. Testing 1, 2. 1, 2, 1, 2. Check, check. Handheld 1, handheld 1. Check, check. Audio capture in. Check, 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 check.
Graduates, this is an announcement for the graduates. Can you please take your seat here according to your seat number? All right, look at your ticket. There's a seat number, and please come and take a seat right here.
Thank you, sir.
Please look for your seat numbers. Wo should be helping out this. This is getting...
I'll remind it. Good afternoon, everyone. Please take your seats according to the seat numbers given to you. Please do quickly check your seat numbers and take your seats. Good afternoon, everyone. Can you all please check your seat numbers and take your seats? Please be seated as soon as possible. Yes, sir. Was that slow enough, sir?
Make an announcement of what they're supposed to do, do you know?
Switch off your mobile phones.
Yeah, that's fine, but when they come up, they come and grab the certificate, hand the card to the whoever, me, hand the card to me, and then walk up and shake hands, take a photograph, and walk.
I wasn't aware of that procedure, but
Do you want me to make it?
okay, go ahead.
All right, graduates, just so that you know what's going to happen and you're not caught by anything. What will happen is you'll be guided when the ceremony starts to come up here. When you come up here, you give me your card with your name on it, and your name will be called. You go up, shake your hands with the academic board chair. All right, take your photograph. You walk down the other end, and you'll be guided back to your seat. Please take a seat after you got your tubes. all right? And then take a seat, because let's make sure that you are here to support all of them. It's not going to be a long ceremony, all right? But we do want you to be remaining seated so that you are supporting everyone else. We should be finished in an hour or so, okay? I know it's a solemn occasion, but my view is it should be a happy moment. So make all the noise you want, cheer whoever you want, but no booing, all right? All right, the idea is celebrate. Get your family to celebrate whatsoever. It's a very happy occasion kind of stuff. So I'm Sidnai, I'm the Executive Dean, and Andrea is the Master of Ceremonies. It is quite a formal procession, but when you start getting your certificates, that's when you start screaming. Until then, just follow the instructions. And parents, I'm a parent, I never behave. So if I were you, I never behave, so, okay? Enjoy.
And I'm still hoping that everybody would behave. Hello, sir. Just to preempt you guys, just put your mobile phones in silent mode or switch off your mobile phones. To 12:30. Graduates, families, and friends, the graduation ceremony is about to commence. You are requested to switch off or silent your mobile phones. I repeat, you are requested to switch off or silent your mobile phones. Graduates, families, and friends, the academic procession and official party are about to enter the auditorium. You are requested to remain silent. Professor Sebastian leads the VIT academic procession. VIT Council Chair Professor Pam Green and VIT President Mr. Arjun Surapaneni lead the official party. The official party comprises of VIT Council members and VIT Academic Board members. Graduates, families, and friends, can I request you all to please stand to welcome our academic procession and official party members. On behalf of VIT, I would like to commence by acknowledging the traditional owners of this land, the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation, and pay our respects to their elders, past and present. Please remain standing. The Assembly is invited to sing the first verse of the Australian National Anthem. The words are on page 29, which is the second last page of your program booklet.
Australians, all let us rejoice, for we are one and free, with golden soil and wealth and toil. Our home is girt by the sea, our land of mountain nature's gifts of beauty rich and rare. In history's page, let every state of God's Australia fair. In joyful strains, and let us sing of God's Australia
Please be seated. It is my pleasure to introduce the official party of this afternoon's ceremony. Sitting on the stage are VIT Council members, VIT Academic Board members, and the CEO, who all play a very important role in governing VIT as an institution. I now call upon VIT Council Chair, Professor Pam Green, to open the graduation ceremony and provide her welcome address.
I declare the 2024 Melbourne graduation ceremony of the Victorian Institute of Technology for the award of Bachelors and Master's degree open. Distinguished guests, Emeritus Professor John Rosenberg, the Honourable David Bartlett, former Premier of Tasmania, Mr Ashok Mysore, Vice President of Infosys, Mr Tom Crampton, Managing Director and CEO of Trusted Impact, and Mr Nick Galatis, GPZ Legal. VIT Council, colleagues, graduates, family and friends, welcome. It is a great pleasure to welcome you all today to the June 2024 graduation ceremony here at the Langham, Melbourne. On behalf of the VIT Council, I would like to truly congratulate everyone who is graduating today on achieving the significant milestone within their academic pursuits. And in the same breath, let me also congratulate others within the VIT community, members of academic staff and professional staff, as well as the entire VIT family. You are here today celebrating the attainment of your chosen academic degree at VIT, so congratulations. And I must also commend wholeheartedly your professors and lecturers for the wisdoms shared, the expertise imparted, their mentorship, and their focus on excellence. And furthermore, I would like to also acknowledge parents, guardians and friends for the support and encouragement that has been provided to today's graduates. It makes a world of difference. Now, while the journey ahead may at times seem largely unknown, your experiences at VIT will hold you in good stead. You have studied within a period of great change where you learned to be adaptable and flexible in your thinking and actions, to think critically but also on your feet as the world pivots to cope with the ever-changing context in which we live. And VIT has greatly contributed to your toolkit for the future, through the knowledge, skills and values imparted, but also the focus on the need for targeted action in a dynamic global context. VIT prides itself on its focus, and that is a relentless pursuit of quality, innovation, and a brighter future for all we serve. The core values of integrity, teamwork and ownership, innovation, with a focus on quality are integral to the culture at VIT, where students come first. Today's graduates are fine examples of these goals and values in action. So congratulations. So finally, to conclude my welcome, I encourage you to maintain strong links with VIT. Go forward knowing that you are a valued and important member of our community. And in so doing, please remember that you are, in the words of A.A. Milne, braver than you think, more talented than you know, and capable of more than you imagine. So once again, let me heartily congratulate you on your great achievements today and wish you all the very best for your future endeavours. I now call upon Professor Andrew Scown to introduce this afternoon's guest speaker. Thank you, Andrew.
Honourable Council members, staff, graduands, family and friends. It is with pleasure that I introduced our guest speaker today, Emeritus Professor John Rosenberg. Professor Rosenberg has over 20 years of experience in senior management, leadership and governance in educational institutions. He has held positions ranging from Dean of the Faculty of Information Technology at Monash University, the largest and most diverse faculty of its type in Australia at the time, to Deputy Vice-Chancellor and Vice President Academic at Deakin University, where he transformed the university's approach to online education and led major improvements in the student experience and student satisfaction. Most recently, he held the position of Senior Deputy Vice-Chancellor and Vice President Global Relations at La Trobe University. Professor Rosenberg has extensive commercial and corporate governance experience. He founded 2 IT startups and has been a director of a range of companies in Australia and Switzerland. He is currently a director of 2 joint venture pathway colleges and chairs the academic board for another Australia-wide college. Professor Rosenberg is a Fellow of the Australian Computer Society, a Fellow of the Australian Academy for Technological Sciences and Engineering, and a Fellow of the Institute of Company Directors. In addition to these prestigious fellowships, Professor Rosenberg was appointed as an Emeritus Professor of La Trobe University in 2014. Please join me in welcoming Emeritus Professor John Rosenberg.
Thank you, Andrew. I'd like to begin by acknowledging the traditional owners of the land on which we meet today, the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nations, thank them for their care of the land over thousands of years, and pay my respects to elders past, present and emerging, as well as any Indigenous people here today. Executive Dean Professor Sid Nair, CEO Mr Arjun Surapanani, Council members, distinguished guests, colleagues, graduands, the most important people here, ladies and gentlemen. Certainly gives me great pleasure to give this occasional address today for the graduation of Victorian Institute of Technology. And I thank you, Professor Nair, for giving me this opportunity. I recently joined the Council of VIT, and I'm looking forward to contributing to the future development of the institution. I don't know how many graduation ceremonies I've attended over my career, but it must be hundreds. And I can honestly say that I've always enjoyed graduations. They are the occasion when we get to celebrate the success of our graduates. And it's what an educational institution is all about. I never tire of seeing the smiling and satisfied faces of the graduates and of their parents and friends. I'd like to begin by congratulating the graduands. Obtaining a degree from the Victorian Institute of Technology requires ability, dedication, and above all, a lot of hard work. You should be very proud of your achievement. I hope that I know that for many of you, it's been necessary to juggle your study with full or part-time work, family commitments, as well as being in a new country away from family. And then, of course, there was the ramifications of COVID. And so your achievement is even more impressive. I trust that each of you will continue to achieve your goals, whether they involve further study or employment in your chosen vocation. What I can promise you is that your career will have many phases and most likely considerable change. I would also like, on behalf of the graduands, to thank all of the staff at VIT. The teachers are knowledgeable and committed and care about the success of their students. The support staff are all focused on one thing, and that is to make every student's time at VIT a fantastic experience. So I'd ask the graduands in particular to please join with me in thanking all of the staff. I finished full-time work, I don't like the word retired, I don't use that word, in 2014, and as mentioned, I'm now a director on a number of boards and committees, but most importantly, I regularly look after 5 grandchildren, and that's the most important thing I do, I think. I had a 38-year career in higher education, and you might think that sounds a bit boring, but let me tell you it wasn't. I've ended up undertaking activities that I would never have dreamt of, and I've learnt something from each of these, and let me give you a couple of examples. While at Monash University, where I was Dean of the Faculty of Information Technology, I was involved in establishing Monash campus in South Africa, one of the first full foreign campuses of an Australian university. And I had the opportunity to visit South Africa on numerous occasions and was encouraged by my black driver, Opa, to go see real South Africa and visit Soweto at a time when perhaps people of my colour weren't so often seen in Soweto. I did this with much concern of my colleagues, but it was a real eye-opener. I also visited in Soweto Nelson Mandela's original cottage where he grew up, and I learnt a lot about this amazing man. Now, why have I told you this? Because I cannot think of a better role model than Nelson Mandela, a man who survived 30 years of persecution and incarceration to then work with his former enemies to rebuild his country. Let me give you 2 quotes from Mandela, and there are many. First, he said, "Education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world." And I absolutely agree with that. In fact, one of the first acts he undertook as president was to invest highly in primary education for all people. And second, he said, "A good head and a good heart are always a formidable combination." It's the combination of both thinking and having a good heart. You can't just do what you think is right without thinking about whether it's also good for people. And I think he was an exceptional person in that sense. I strongly recommend you follow his advice. You'll find that as you climb the ranks and move into leadership and management, it's easy to become an economic rationalist. There will be much pressure upon you to make the hard decisions. As you make these decisions, don't totally block out your heart. Great leaders such as Mandela are able to find an appropriate balance. Also, while at Monash, I became involved in and later led a major project with the International Olympic Committee, and the Olympics are about to happen in Paris. This was a project around knowledge management. The result was the establishment of a company based in Lausanne, Switzerland, to codify and deliver the knowledge about how to run an Olympic Games. I actually became managing director for a period of the Australian company linked to this and a director of the Swiss company. Not exactly what I expected to do when I undertook a PhD in computer science. This also constituted a valuable lesson. The Olympic Games are arguably the most complex event held in the modern world. Their organisation and planning takes 7 years, and it's incredibly impressive that every 2 years a successful event is held. It was also interesting to see how different people dealt with the status of the movement, the very high status. I was fortunate to attend the 112th IOC session, International Olympic Committee session in Moscow in 2001, and I met senior members of the IOC, including Princess Royal, Princess Anne, Henry Kissinger and Kevin Gosper, and many others. The values of Olympism are excellence, friendship and respect. Many of the people I met were there exactly because of those values, which they upheld with the greatest of enthusiasm. Sadly, some were there for other reasons related to personal gain. The lesson for you as new graduates is to get involved, but maintain the high moral ground and do not become overawed by people of high station. You have just as much to contribute as they do. One of the challenges you'll face as graduates is how to obtain the knowledge and information you need to undertake your job. In one sense, you're very fortunate to have the internet and Google and generative AI, etc. to help us. However, there are literally trillions of bytes of information on the net, but probably less than 1% of that information is of any real value. Perhaps the new AI tools will help us, but the output from these tools also requires a reality check. Herein lies the problem for you as new graduates. How do you differentiate between the noise from the useful information? And the problem is not just related to the internet. You'll encounter the same issue everywhere. Many of you will be involved in building computer systems for use by some group of people. You will talk to these people and try to determine what it is they require from the system. This is usually not easy, as I'll demonstrate with a real example from computer science. Now, the A-7 is a fighter aircraft, formerly used by the US Air Force. The A-7 is highly manoeuvrable and is used often for low-level flying, terrain following, which is quite difficult at very low altitudes. The A-7 was one of the first completely computer-controlled fly-by-wire aircraft. The software was developed in the early days of computing using quite old technology. Professor David Parnas, a pioneer of software engineering from Canada, was invited by the US Department of Defence to re-engineer the software for the aircraft using modern techniques to see if it became more reliable and more manageable. Now, the A-7, as I'm sure you know, in order as I'm sure you know as new graduates, in order to develop a computer program, one must first understand the requirements. No such documentation was available for the A-7, and so Parnas began his task by preparation of a specification, and the only source of information was the original program written in a very cryptic computer language, and they analysed this, and from that produced a specification. Now, the A-7, like most military aircraft, has two separate and independent altimeter mechanisms. These measure the altitude of the aircraft, and a switch may be used by the pilot to select one of these mechanisms, and the current altitude as measured by the selected mechanism is shown on a display on the instrument panel. The computer controlling the aircraft can test each mechanism, and if it finds a fault condition in the currently selected altimeter, it automatically switches to the other one, which makes sense. The question arose for Parnas as to what happens if both altimeters fail? What happens? What does the aircraft do? On examining the code, he discovered that if the computer detects a failure in both mechanisms, it shows the current altitude on the display as 4,000 feet, regardless of the actual altitude. Now, as Parnas, and I'm sure you quickly recognise, this is not particularly helpful if you're in a terrain-following low-altitude aircraft to show 4,000 feet. And he couldn't understand why this had happened, so he managed to contact the original programmer who wrote the code. The programmer told him he too was puzzled, didn't know what to do if both altimeters failed, and so he rang one of the pilots. And the question he asked the pilot was, what is the average altitude that the A-7 aircraft is likely to be flown at? The pilot thought it was a strange question, but he said 4,000 feet, and so he showed 4,000 feet. There is an interesting postscript to this story. Parnas thought he could improve upon the previous version, and in his report, he suggested they put in a warning light, which would be lit up if both altimeters failed. He was quickly told there was absolutely no need for this, because if he looked in the pilot's manual, in Section 5, subsection 2.3a, it clearly stated that if the altimeter shows 4,000 feet constantly, pull up immediately. Two important issues are raised by this example for you as new graduates, most of whom will be entering the workforce for the first time. The first issue is that you must learn to ask the right questions. VIT has equipped you with the skills in terms of raw techniques that you will require in your vocation. In one sense, your formal training is now complete and you're ready to perform productive and useful work. However, in another sense, your training is just beginning. You must develop good analysis skills, communication skills, and the ability to discern useful information from accurate trivia. These skills are extremely difficult for us to teach and can only really be learnt through experience. What is required is an open mind and the ability to stand back and look at a task objectively. You must also recognise that often the end user technologies which you're developing, the end user of the technologies you're developing may not understand the requirements, even if the correct questions are asked. The answers may require some interpretation and verification. I hope you find some enjoyment in this challenge, despite the frustration you may sometimes encounter. The second issue is the ability to admit mistakes. Whenever you're working at the forefront of technology, mistakes will happen. The question is, how do we correct such mistakes? I would urge you to use your knowledge wisely and to properly correct errors and not cover them up with esoteric statements in documentation. In the area of computing, we often use the catchphrase, "That's not a bug, it's a feature." There is no doubt that poorly corrected errors will eventually result in serious failures, including in the case of the A7, potential loss of life, and the recent case of the Boeing 737 MAX is another example of unnecessary failure which sadly resulted in significant loss of life. Before I finish, I'd like to briefly talk about diversity, and in particular diversity in your personal life. Many of you have spent the majority of your life to date as a student. Contrary to public opinion, the life of a student in 2024 is not easy. As I mentioned earlier, you have to balance work and study and the challenging rigours of probably an active social life, physically and online. While for many of you, you've been living quite a long way from family and loved ones. Your life from here on will be quite different. You will have work, responsibilities on a full-time basis, and for some of you, the responsibility of a family and possibly children. Having reached a mature age, I feel I'm now entitled to give you some advice about diversity in your life, and hopefully this will help you in the future. I have 3 suggestions. They may seem simple and obvious, but most good ideas are. Number 1, remember that the most important people in your life are your family and your friends. Make sure there's time for them. Remember their birthdays and anniversaries. Make them the first entries in your diary, not the last. This can be hard and there will be external pressures, but try your best. 2, spend at least a few hours each week with your family and friends in a social environment. Earning money is important, but maintaining these vital relationships is just, if not more important. 3, always maintain some interest or hobby outside of your work domain. Examples could include a sporting activity, involvement in a social or religious group, or some other hobby. This will take you away from the mental pressures of work for at least some of the time each week. As an example, when I turned 50 and had my midlife crisis, I had quite a stressful job, and I began to learn to fly aircraft, hence the interest in aircraft, eventually obtaining my private pilot's licence, and I found this to be challenging but also relaxing. If you can start with good habits and observe these 3 simple suggestions, I'm sure it will enrich your life and help you to maintain a healthy and happy lifestyle. Most of you are leaving the educational environment at this time, and you're about to step out in the real world. As I mentioned earlier, the Institute has equipped you with the required knowledge, but it's now up to you to create your own future. I know that it can be daunting and difficult to find and commence in your first professional position. I would ask you to think of the inspiring words of the philosopher Guillaume Apollinaire, made popular by the amazing illusionist David Copperfield. And he said, "Come to the edge," he said. They said, "We are afraid." "Come to the edge," he said. They came, he pushed them, and they flew. I'm confident that each of you will fly and will be a credit to yourselves and VIT. I wish each and every one of you success and happiness in the future and trust that you will look back on your days at VIT with pride and pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you for your message. Thank you for your graduation message, Emeritus Professor John Rosenberg. Aircraft is certainly a very interesting way to address midlife crisis. Now, I would like to invite VIT President Mr. Arjun Surapaneni to present a token of appreciation to you as our guest speaker this afternoon. Thank you, Mr. President, and thank you, Emeritus Professor John Rosenberg. We now come to the session of degree conferral. Professor Sid Nair, Executive Dean, Higher Education, will present the graduates. Dr. Michael Tomlinson, Chair of VIT Academic Board, will admit the graduates.
Graduates, please stand. Chair, I present to you the following graduates, including those in absentia, who have successfully fulfilled all conditions prescribed and are entitled to the award of Bachelors and Master's degrees as stipulated by the Victorian Institute of Technology Academic Board.
By virtue of the authority vested in me as Chairman of the Academic Board of Victorian Institute of Technology, I admit the duly authorised graduates here present and in absentia to the appropriate awards and to the rights and privileges of those awards. Congratulations.
Graduates, please be seated. As the graduates make their way up, please celebrate, make all the noise you want. Chair, I have the honor to present to you the graduates on whom you have conferred the degree of Master of Information Technology and Systems. Honorable Council members, staff, graduates, families, and friends, please celebrate this particular moment with your friends and your families. Graduates. Fahad Akram. Basanta Yarrow. Prakash Bandari. Kevin Jonathan Gamage. Janavi Juninja. Mohammad Sabair Khan. Mohammad Zain Ali Khan. Thank you. Ayush Karel. Anushka Maharajan. Cheyenne Merchant. Okay. Muskan. Vishant Panjata. Chamaka Jayasinghe. Adil Rahman. Mohammad Ayan Safi. Kanwal Jit Sharma. Bikash Sharsta. Chair, I have the honor to present to you the graduates from whom the degree of the Bachelor of Information Technology and Systems. Anita Sewell. Manish Shrestha. Pramod Thakuri. I'm just going to announce. Mehak Arora. Your masters. Okay. Chair, I have the honor to present more graduates for the Masters of Information Technology Systems. Harish Farooq Awan. Anika AJ. Kavya Priya Reddy Madam. Sharik Samsudin. Ritu Sharma. Resam Singh. Okay. Chair, I now have the honor to present to you the graduates of whom you have conferred the degree of the Masters of Business Administration. Arthi Anatha Kumar. Jemsel Kaina. Joses dos Santos Caldas. Any more words? Ahmed Helmi Mohammad Farag. Shahan Vimukti. Ashma Kardaya. Kuldip Kaur. Simran. Jasmine Jang Fuzaxi. This concludes the conferral of all degrees. Thank you, Dr. Tomlinson, Chair of the Academic Board. Thank you. Congratulations to all our new graduates. Coming up next, you're welcome. Coming up next is our top student award presentation. May I invite the VIT Council Chair, Professor Pam Green, to announce this year's top student awards.
Thank you. On behalf of the VIT Council, I have the great pleasure of announcing the following graduates for top student awards. These awards are based at the program level and are vigorously judged by an academic panel at VIT before recommendation is made to academic board. There are a total of 8 students who have achieved awards. So I would now like to call upon VIT President Mr. Arjun Surapanini to present the award to winners who are attending the ceremony today. And we have a drum roll, I think, for the 2023 Top Student Award in the Development Specialisation of the Bachelor of Information Technology and Systems program is Vishant Panjita, and congratulations. Many of our award winners were unable to make it here today, and others are attending the Sydney graduation next week. The names of all award winners are listed in your programs on page 23. Award winners in Melbourne who could not be here with us today are Keshav Busul, the TOPS BRT students and top in networking specialisation. Congratulations. And Carlo. Yes, thank you. Thank you. And Carlos Andreas Riosolanis, top MITS students, MIT students, and top in software engineering specialisation. Congratulations. And Santha Kamura Nakanja, top MBA students. Thank you so much. Congratulations. And thank you to our President. Oh yes, and it's me again. I have the privilege of congratulating all the VIT students who have graduated here today. The very best of all wishes to you for a wonderful, happy and successful future. You might like to applaud. And I declare the 2000, wrong one.
Yeah, you have to invite the top student for the speech.
Oh, okay, so I was wrong, yes. Probably should have worn my glasses. What do you think? I now invite our student representative and top student, Mr. Vishant Panjeta, who graduates today with the Bachelor of Information Technology and Systems, to come and speak on behalf of all graduates. Thank you so much.
Hello and good afternoon to all the distinguished guests, faculty members, family, friends, parents, those who are here and those who couldn't come. It's an honor to stand in front of you all today as we celebrate these significant milestones in our lives. Today, we mark the finale of years of hard work, dedication, perseverance at the Victorian Institute of Technology. This journey has been transformative for each and every one of us. As I reflect on my time at VIT, I'm filled with immense gratitude and pride. Today, as I stand here, first I would like to extend my heartfelt thanks to my parents. Your support has been the foundation of my journey, of what I am today. You believed in me even when I doubted myself, and your love and sacrifices have been my greatest source of the strength throughout of my life. Thank you for being my pillars and for your unwavering faith in my abilities and for always encouraging me to reach for the stars. So during my time at VIT, I had a chance of learning through some of the most professional educators. Our teachers did not just impart the lessons from textbooks. They inspired us to think critically and pursue excellence in each and every one field. Their commitment to our success has been firm, and for that I am greatly grateful. And to our respected faculty, thank you again for your guidance and your patience and your encouragement throughout. To my friends who are present here, You have been my companions through thick and thin, been my second family while we are away from our home. We're celebrating our successes today as on this auspicious occasion. The bonds that we have formed through our friendships are the ones that we will cherish forever. Thank you for the laughter and the friendship. Our journey at VIT has been filled with numerous opportunities that have prepared us to the next phase of our lives. From internships to the projects, the industry projects, from workshops to networking events, VIT has provided us the platforms to apply our knowledge and to grow both personally and physically. These experiences have been invaluable, and I'm excited to see where they will lead us in our near futures. Graduation, as we stand here, is not the end, but it's a new beginning to our lives as we step out into the world, carry us with the lessons that we have learned at VIT. VIT that has provided us the platforms to apply our knowledge and to grow personally and professionally. So we are now ready to face new challenges, to seize new opportunities, and to make a positive impact to our communities. So to my fellow graduates who are present here, today is the proof that our hard work and determination has led us to immense success. We have achieved something remarkable, and we should be incredibly proud of ourselves. As we embark our new journey, let us remember to stay curious, to remain tough, and to continue motivated for excellence. Our futures is ours to shape, and I have no doubt we will achieve that, the great things. In closing, as our Professor Rosenberg said, the quote for Nelson Mandela, who once said that education is the most powerful weapon. It is indeed the greatest weapon, and let us take this weapon outside to the world to create it a better world for ourselves and to our future generations. Thank you again to all the graduates of 2023 and 24, and I would like to give you all a good round of applause for yourself. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Panjeta. I do believe all of you will strive towards excellence in your lives. I now call upon VIT Council Chair, Professor Pam Green, to close the ceremony.
Yes, and here I am once more. I would like to take this moment now and I declare the 2024 Melbourne graduation ceremony of the Victorian Institute of Technology closed.
Thank you all for attending our graduation ceremony. This concludes the formal part of the event. Please join us for refreshments in the foyer just outside this hall. On behalf of VIT, we wish you all a great time in celebrating this very enjoyable moment with your families, friends, lecturers, and all our graduates. Congratulations, graduates of VIT. Would you all stand and please remain standing while the official party and graduates leave the hall. It's time to party, boys and girls. I hope to see you all outside the foyer, right?